So if you'd like to call me, 860-321-7005. You know, one of the problems I have with all kinds of drugs, you know that every 19 seconds, 3 people die from an overdose of drugs. Every 19 seconds. Now, we're not talking about marijuana, we're not about opiates. Every 19 seconds, 3 people die from an overdose of drugs. So I was hearing confession over at New Haven Community Prison on Whaley Avenue. And there were about 19 fellows that came in for Mass. And I said, how many of you started with marijuana? 18 out of 19 began with marijuana, and it opened up the door to go further. When I hear confessions at the Northern Correctional in Summers, one fellow's there, he killed 3 people. He started marijuana, ended up on crack. Another person kept 2 people, started marijuana, went up higher, went into heroin. Another one got hooked on heroin and held up a bank twice. That's how bright he was. So we're going to legalize marijuana. I'd like to get your opinion on that. Should we legalize it or not? See, I was talking to someone from the department from narcotics, and they said, Father, if we legalize it, then we know that the weed or whatever they're going to make is clean and pure, while those that are sold on the black market, you don't know how much phenol's in there and all the other stuff. So at least they'll know. I said, yeah, but you're going to tax them. And your tax is going to make the cost of marijuana your way a lot more expensive than in the black market. That's what's happening in California. They legalized marijuana, but the price is so high because of the taxes that the black market is doing much better now. So, but my point is the marijuana can be 1 out of 3 people can end up getting hooked on it, addicted to it. And I remember a young man called me from West Haven on the billboard. By the way, if you have a question, just call me at 860-321-7405. 860-321-7405. Okay, the first caller is going to go to heaven right away after they hit 100 years. Let's see, where's my first call? I pushed the wrong one. Father Ed.
Hi, Father Ed.
Yes, what's your question?
My question is, in the Gospel of Luke, the finding of Jesus in the temple,
right.
When Mary and Joseph came into the temple and saw him with the elders of the temple, they were shocked and horrified, and they said, you know, son, why have you done this to us? And Jesus said to them, did you not know that I must be in my Father's house? And then it said, but they did not understand what he meant.
Right, because
I thought, but they must have understood because.
No, they didn't. They didn't understand.
They knew he was the Son of God.
No, they didn't. They didn't know that. At that time, it was just her son, so they was all confused. When they took off and left, and then they find out he's not with relatives, they didn't know he was the Son of God. I don't know if even Jesus knew he was the Son of God at that time as a child, but he obviously was inspired through the power of the Holy Spirit. But Joseph and Mary didn't know that, because if they had known that, they wouldn't be so upset about it. They were, son, why did you do that to us? And he said, well, then I have to do my Father's business. And did they understand what that meant? No, they didn't. He has 2 parents with an 11-year-old child, and they were completely confused. Mary really didn't realize, though when he went out and went to that wedding feast, and they had a good time, and yet Mary knew there was something different about him when she said, just listen to him. And Jesus said, my time has just not come. But she went over to the waiters and say, just do whatever he wants. He changed water into wine. So that's when he was 33 years old. But at 11, they didn't realize that he was God. At 33, did she know that he was divine? Or did she know that he was a chosen son of God? So we really don't know. But to answer your question, no, they didn't know that he was God. And I doubt that he himself at 11 years old realized. It was a gradual revelation to him that he was divine. And it was a gradual revelation to them also that he was divine. Okay?
Well, wait a minute, though. The angel told Mary at the Annunciation.
Yeah, but she was a 15-year-old kid.
Of God.
Yeah, but did she understand that? No, she didn't. She didn't understand.
She accepted it.
Oh, yeah, because it was God's will. But Mary didn't, at 15, no, she didn't know. That's my humble opinion, and I'm proud of my humility. Okay? Thanks for calling. Bye-bye. Okay, that's a good question. When did Jesus know that he was actually God? To me, it was a gradual evolution of knowledge of who he was. When he was 33, and he would start preaching, and then after he was baptized, and the Father from heaven said, "This is my beloved Son, listen to him." So through baptism, but his immediate understanding that he was divine, that he was the Son of God, no, that was a gradual understanding. In my humble opinion, and I know I'm always right. Okay, if you have a call me at 860-321-7405. Whatever topic you have, if I don't answer it, I'll give you an answer anyways. But just give me a call. So getting back to some of the things I had at the billboards, it's really a parish without boundaries. And I have about 15 around the area. So I figure at least 2 million cars, not 2 million different cars, but 2 million cars pass by those prayer billboards every month. I had one billboard for 6 months, and that was on 84 going east. And it said, "Jesus, forgive me." Now it says, "Jesus, I adore you." That had 55,000, and that was there for 6 months. So that was over 1.2 million cars that rode by there. Just one billboard. And if 20% saw them, so that was what, 240,000 cars where people prayed. Now, there was many times there was one person, but many times there were more people, more than one persons in that car. So it was more than 2 million people, because at least 2 million cars. Anyways, if you have a question, call me at 860-321-7405. Some of the calls that I get are kind of sad. One day I got a call. I told you about the fellows who committed adultery, and he needed to go to confession. But there's a young lady. I didn't understand the area code, and I think it was a Vermont or a Maine area code. And she called me about 10 o'clock. Okay, I'll stop talking because you're my guest, and it would be rude for me to keep talking while you want to talk to me. Father Ed, you're on with Father Ed.
Hi, Father Ed. This is Richard from New Britain, one of your former camera operators.
Oh,
I wish I was there now, to tell you the truth.
Oh, good. How's your dad doing?
Well, he's hanging in there. Still having some problems, but we're trying different medications, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, how old is he?
94. Next month he'll be 95.
Is he ready to go to heaven?
Yes, absolutely. Well, partly thanks to you. Thank you for the blessings and the ashes and the sacrament of the sick the other week there. That was very nice.
Well, but my question is, how about his 2 sons? Are they ready to let their father go?
Yes, absolutely.
If he knows that at this age, we wouldn't want him to suffer, and this quality of life. But if he knows that you're saying, "Dad, it's okay for you to go to heaven," that will really relax him. And it's surprising how many times parents wait for their children to give them permission to go to heaven. After 60 years of being a priest, I always talk to families, are you ready to let your father or your mother go to heaven? And often times, no, we're not ready yet. And he's hanging on. But I say, what's best for him? You love your mother or your father, but what really is best for your mother and father? To be with God in perfect happiness, or to keep on struggling as they are? So if you're ready to go for him to go to heaven, he'll be going there. Have you got a question for me? Don't make it too difficult, though.
No, I don't think so. My father and I happened to see you doing a mass on TV a week or so ago. And my father recognized you, so we watched the whole thing. Sometimes it's hard to get him to focus. Do you happen to know when your next televised mass is going to be?
It'll be before Jesus returns. but it'll be Monday, not this Monday, next Monday. It'll be the Assumption of our Lord, Our Lady, I think, or it's a feast of Our Lady. Yeah, a week from today, in fact. I'll be on a week from today.
Oh, that's right. Okay, a week from today. Good. We'll look for you again. Thank you.
See, it's not really a valid mass because there's no collection. How can you call it a mass?
That's for sure.
Good. Thanks a lot for calling. And we miss you here. We miss you.
Good. Thank you, Father. Bye-bye.
God bless. Let's see. Okay. That's Richard. Richard used to be the cameraman and the floor man here, but he's taking care of his father, and he's a wonderful, wonderful young man. Pray for his back. He's always had problems with his back. So while you're listening, remember Richard and pray for his back. Okay, getting back to anyone listening, 860-321-7405. Whatever your question is, we'd love to answer you. But getting back to the billboard, until someone else calls, this area code was either Maine or Vermont. And so I answered, it was about 9 o'clock or so. And it was a young voice there. And it was the voice of a 14-year-old girl. And the billboard that she saw was Jesus Forgive Me on 84 going east. And I said, well, how come you're calling me? You're up in Vermont or where it was. She said, I saw your billboard. And she asked me, well, God forgive me. I said, what did you do? I said, did you give up your virginity? She had a hard time saying that, and she said, yes. And I said, of course God will forgive you. If you're really sorry for what you've done, God will forgive you. And then I said, is this the first time that you had relations with a man? And she said, yes. I said, that man wasn't the first time he had relations with a woman. So you may not know it, but it'd be good someday when you go to a doctor to check up if you've gotten any type of disease. You know, a lot of kids say, "Oh, we're not pregnant, Father. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. I don't have to." And I say, "Yeah, but you're not pregnant. But have you picked up a disease?" 860-321-7405 is a telephone number, and whatever question you have, we'd love to hear from you. So give me a call. This morning, it was early this morning. One fella called me and he said, "I want to be a deacon." And I said, "You want me to deacon?" Tell me how old you are. But as I listened to him, I said, where are you calling from? He was calling from Rashford up in Middletown, I guess, the psychiatric help that they have there. So I talked to him and I said, well, you know, you have to go to college and have a degree. Most of the time, there are exceptions, of course, but they expect you to have a degree. And then you also you take 5 years of preparation to become a deacon. So as I talked to him, I saw that he was very, very, not violent, but stressed out. And I said, well, and he's got a $25,000 school debt. He didn't finish college. And I said, well, you wouldn't expect the church to pay for your $25,000 student loan. I said, when you pay that off and you finish college, and then give us a call, or call the office. So sometimes we get calls for anything. That was this morning when the person called. But if we look around and see that every billboard and every call is a unique call, It's never, well, it's the same old calls. No, you may get it with a young child. You may get it from an elderly person. You may get it from a man who, like I said before, my wife left me with two babies, and they were two dogs. And that's one of the problems today, that people aren't having children. They're having dogs instead. And let's see how smart you are. 860-321-7405. One is one of the reasons why people separate and get a divorce. What is one of the reasons why you think people separate and get a divorce? There's a whole list of reasons. But in your humble opinion, if you're listening to this program, call me at 860-321-7405. 860-321-7405. What are some of the reasons why people you feel get a divorce? I was listening on a tape coming in here, and I was amazed when I found out that birth control pills is a reason why a divorce can happen. And you say, you're crazy. A lot of people think I am. 860-321-7405. What do you... Okay, that's one. You're on with Father Ed.
Hi, Father Ed. I have another question. In the Gospel of Mark, before Jesus ascends into heaven, he says, he who believes will be with me forever, and he who does not believe will be condemned. Now, my question is, if you are, for example, from Russia, and you were brought up in Soviet Russia, and you don't believe in God, let alone Jesus, but you're a really good person, and you work really hard to give your family the best life, I mean, Jesus wouldn't condemn him, would he?
No, Jesus says, forgive them, for they know not what they do. That's his answer. So you don't take a scripture quote and just isolate it. You have to take the whole picture of Jesus. And the picture of Jesus, God is love, and he who abides in love abides in God, and God in that person. Now, if a person doesn't know anything about Christ, Buddhists don't, the Hindus don't, Jews don't, atheists don't. But the big thing that Jesus said, what you do to the least of my brethren, you do to me. When did we feed you? When did we clothe you? When did we visit you in prison? When did we see you sick? The bottom line is God judges us on the way we treat our neighbor. And even though we may not know God dwells in that neighbor, you're loving God by loving your neighbor, even though you may not know of God. But if you just isolate something and don't get the whole picture, remember, Jesus really summed it up. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So he's going to forgive that guy who doesn't know anything about Jesus. He's going to forgive the person who had an abortion, but she was forced to have the abortion. We're going to forgive the person who ended up being addicted on drugs or gambling or alcohol and became a slave to that. Jesus says, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Okay?
Oh, okay. I also want to say I love your billboards, Father.
Good. Well, pray that...
Every time I see one, it puts a smile on my face.
Okay, good. Well, pray for people that get a smile on their face and a checkbook in the envelope, okay? Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye, Father.
Bye. Yeah. By the way, somebody said, how much do those billboards cost? Those billboards are, depends where they are. The one on 84 is $18.50 a month. Another one on, say, Route 8 is $13.50. The digitals that we have, I just signed a contract for $1,800 for a 10-second digital. Now, those when I have off the highways on streets in cities, that'll be about $1,200. So my cost last year was $75,000. I tried to hold up the Webster Bank, but it was too heavy. I couldn't do it. So I'll have go one. Father Ed, you're on with Father Ed.
Hi, Father Ed. It's Joyce Logan.
Yes, Joyce. I'm glad you called because I have a problem. I can't go to a priest, so I got to go to you. This woman who is up in, where is she? Oh, she's in Bethlehem. And I say Mass over at the Regina Laudis Chapel for the Benedictine nuns. And she came, and we started talking after Mass. And she told me when she got married, she only had, thank God she had the groom with her. She had the groom and the best man and her mother and father, but nobody else at the wedding because she couldn't handle any crowds. So she never goes to a theater. She never goes to a church that has a normal number of people. Over at Regina Laudis, we just have maybe 8 or 9 people that are, but on the other side of the grill, the barrier are the sisters, about 35, but she's far away from them. So she's really sitting alone in this chapel. And I didn't realize how she can't go shopping. She does everything off of the net. So my question, you have a wonderful book, and I gave the book to her, Starving Your Fears. But what advice could I'll see her this Friday at Mass, because I'll be saying Mass at Regina Laudis. What's the one thing you would ask her or suggest that she do?
Well, of course, read the book. And
she's already started that. She's going over it quite a few times.
well, I think what would help her is knowing that I was her, I am her. Many of us have something, whether, look, we're living in different times right now where it used to be called anxiety, panic attacks, and they probably still do. They say, it is the biggest epidemic, and it's a mental illness. I don't think it's a mental illness. I think we are living under very, very stressful times where we're not even aware of how much news 24/7, people divided in the country. But even before that, it was the news 24/7. We never used to hear about shootings unless it was in our own backyard. But now, through a very long time now, because of the internet, we're on high anxiety, and the country puts us on high alert. So I think there are so many people like this woman, whether she's had it since she was a little girl, which I did, and sometimes your brain is just overactive. And the good news I would tell her is that highly creative, intelligent, and passionate people are the ones who tend to have panic attacks.
That's why I never have panic attacks.
Well, you just walk on water. That's why. You trust God for everything. And that's the key. The bottom line again is, if you didn't fear death, if you really, really, really knew where you were going and that you were at the end of your life, because let's face it, our life is going to end, and aren't we lucky to still be alive now when children have died? And we're still on this earth. So we're on this earth for a reason. And I think to let someone like her know, you are here for a reason. There's this old saying about ships, that ships in harbors are beautiful to look at, but that's not what ships are made for. They're meant to go out on those seas and go exploring. And just like us, we are made to reach out and do service for others. We're made to go out into the world. And if you really had no fear of death, what can happen to you that's so bad? And that's what I would challenge her to start thinking that way. It's the worst thing that will happen to you sitting in church is that you'll have to get up and excuse yourself, and you'll be embarrassed, and then you'll never want to come back. Well, get a sense of humor over it. Tell your parish priest, tell people there, hey, I have this anxiety problem, and I guarantee you so many people will say the same thing and say, oh my gosh, I have that too. I don't like going on Easter Sunday or Palm Sunday. I get all sweaty. I feel like I'm going to faint. So many people feel that way.
Good.
But
Well, before I just found out I have 2 callers. I think they're coming from heaven, but I'm not sure. Give me one concrete thing for me to tell her before to tell her to go to heaven.
Tell her to read my chapter about breathing. If you can get her breathing under control, it shuts off the cortisol, the adrenaline in her brain, and it won't cause her to feel so panicky.
I got to tell you something. I've been doing that. My blood pressure's gone down. So instead of going to the doctor, I'm coming to you. I put my finger on my nose and take a deep breath. That does help. So you could send me a bill. You got my blood pressure down. But I'll tell her if I have your telephone number. So I'll see her Friday and say, why not just call you? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Thanks for calling.
Have a good night.
Good night. Bye-bye. Line 2? Line 1. Hi, you're on with Father Ed.
Yes, Father, I heard something about that you're on Facebook now, and people can get crosses. What's that all about?
Well, because I'm humble, I'm very shy, and very, very shy and humble, I got my Facebook and I challenged the people. I had 100,000 palm crosses, and in fact, my last bag, some people say I'm half in a bag. No, the bag is only half forward crosses. So I put on my Facebook, does anybody want a palm cross? And what I've got...
Palm cross. What's a palm cross?
Well, it fits into your hand. It's that small. You could clutch your palm, your hand and your fist, and it'll fit in there like a little, as if it were in a bed. So right now I've given out 99,972. So like just this today, I put that on the Facebook. If you'd like to have a cross, just email me at fngoodnews@aol.com. And so today, I think I sent out four packages. So my goal is to reach 100,000, and I think I definitely will with the Facebook. All I tell them is to send me your address to fngoodnews@aol.com. And like today, I had 4 or 5 letters. The purpose is to get people to say, I love you, Jesus. And one of the problems we have is with kids watching, going on internet, the temptation of pornography is very large. So I asked the parents to have that little cross right at their computer. But they also have phones too. I just heard that Silicon Valley that was responsible for all these phones, their kids can go to a school where they cannot have any phones. Here's the companies that are making the phones, but for their kids, they're sending them to special schools where there are no phones, so don't get addicted. So one of the reasons for the cross is for have it near your computer. There's a fellow who took the cross from me and gave it to his father up at the Masonic Lodge, and the father passed away, and they opened up the clutch of his hand, and the cross was there. Another person passed away, and they opened up his wallet, and the cross was there. So the cross is placed in a lot of different places. So the purpose is to get people to be conscious of God when they're tempted to go otherwise. And especially kids today with pornography on the internet and on the phone, the temptations are great. And when people come to confession and they tell me about pornography, I try to get them to get the phone to block out those pornographic contacts. So the purpose of is to get everybody to pray. My billboards are all prayers, and this one says, I love you, Jesus. And you can read it either way. I, Eddie, love you, Jesus, or I love you, Eddie, signed Jesus. So we're trying to get people to pray in this world of non-praying. That's basically the purpose. So if you want one,
Well, just during Lent or any time?
oh, that's a good question. No, I've been doing it now. The 100,000 I'll be gone. I've been doing it for a couple of years. So whenever I get a call, I may mention it. I'm on radio a lot, so I do that. But the billboards bring in a lot of requests for crosses also. The main place where I give out crosses are when I go to a restaurant. I'll go to a restaurant, I'll walk around the tables, and 90% of them will want to cross. And then they'll say, well, could I have one for my mother? Could I have one for my daughter? Could I have 3 for my 6 children? So I end up giving a lot more. I may give out 30 or 40 at a restaurant. Once you give them one and they look at it and like it. Now, how do I approach it? I walk up to a table like I did. I went to dinner after Mass Saturday night in Waterbury, and I walked up to the lady and I said to her, is your child nice? And she says, of course. So then I walked up to a couple. I said, is your husband nice? Most of the time. So I gave him one. Then I asked, is your wife nice? And he says, almost all the time. So when you ask a person, are you nice? You're going to end up getting a positive response. 99% of the time, I'll get somebody who is non-Christian, and they'll say, no, I don't believe in Christ. But that's only less than 1%. So it's a great way of evangelizing and get people, like the billboards, the purpose is get people to pray. So the little cross, I love you, Jesus, is to get people to pray. And it's phenomenal that because I've given out over 100,000, sometimes I'll be walking, like in church, and somebody, hey, Father, they'll pull out the cross and show it to me. I find that so often because it's close to 100,000. So the places I go, I'll meet people who received it in the mail. Like today, I mailed out probably 12 of them. So I may bump into those people someday, and they'll show me they have a cross. And one guy got all shook up. His cross broke, and he was all shook up. I says, well, you know, I'll give you. Somebody say, well, how much do they cost? Well, they cost 25 cents for me. So for 100,000, that cost $25,000. So if you know somebody wants a cross, let me know. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for calling. Take care. Okay, is there another call coming or what? I thought line 3. They hung up. Okay, I talk too much. Well, maybe they can call in now. The lines are open. So call me at 860-321-7405. 860-321-7405. And we're talking about the different, I got to tell you a little story. I was listening to a tape coming in, and somebody who is in, there's a new movie coming out March 29th called Unplanned. Unplanned. It's a story, it's a true story about somebody who worked in Planned Parenthood, and they were very much involved in abortion, but they were behind a desk filling out forms, and they never really experienced the abortion. And one day the doctor says, I need help, would you come? And she had the actual visualization of the child, and it changed her whole life when she saw the abortion as it really is. So this is coming out on March 29th. And next week, if it's okay, if I could work it out, we're going to have this a DVD called Abortion Procedures. It's done in animation. And the doctor who is responsible for the film that's coming on I hope all the theaters March 29th, he was involved in that movie, but he also was involved in showing this presentation of first semester, second semester, and third semester, with the actual what happens, but it's all in animation form, and all the tools that are used in every form of abortion. So next week maybe I'll be, if it's okay with this, with the Nutmeg, if they fit it in or it can work into the program, I'll show it next week. But getting back to when I was listening to this DVD. By the way, if you have a question, call me at 860-321-7405. 860-321-7405. Something on, a lot of people have questions on deacons, how do you become a deacon? Other may have other questions. But this was an interesting, this came from Bloomfield to here I am in Farmington. But I usually have a drink halfway through. It's not a martini, it's not vodka, it's a combination of both. They call it water. So I was listening to this DVD on the effect of a birth control pill on a woman and on a man and on a child. This is a renowned physician who specializes in birth. And I'd say, well, I've been practicing birth control for, well, I'm 86. I've been practicing it for 60 years as a priest. I don't have any kids, honest. I don't have any kids. So when you talk about birth control, what do you talk about? I've been practicing birth control for 60 years as a priest. And by celibacy, I'm not married, so I don't have any children. But we're talking about people who either are married or having children, are single and on birth control. What concerns me are the number of young people going on birth control and what pills and what that's going to have a long effect upon the person. But I never realized this. One day a lady came to me and said, "Father, I don't love my husband anymore." And I had just listened to this woman, this doctor, that when a woman, she's got estrogen, and she feels as if she is pregnant, and when she gets off the birth control pill, her affection and her attention towards her husband is less, and her attention will go for somebody who would be more identified with her. She's looking for a protector, like a father image or a brother image. And that blew my mind. So often I find people telling me, women, I don't love my husband anymore. And my question is, when did you get off the pill? There's a connection between being on the pill and then being off the pill. Now, this isn't my humble opinion. This is research, scientific research. And the other point that they made, that over 2 or 3 generations of taking a pill, that has a negative effect on the children to come. Their immune system is much less. And so there's a lot more complications and more sicknesses. And the third factor that really blew my mind, that the estrogen that a woman has in the pill, she excretes that. That goes into water. And we find that men have become more and more sterile and less able to have children. And it's all, now that's the facts. Now you may agree with it or you may disagree with it, and I'd like to get your opinion. But the pill causes a woman to be less interested in her husband. The pill has a negative effect on generations. We're talking about generations of taking a pill. Mother, grandmother, now the new mother, where his immune system is lessened. And because of the estrogen getting into water, and men drink that water, they become more sterile-minded and physically sterile, less sperms. So you may agree with that and not agree. I just learned that. Now, I listened to the lecture of this real authority on birth. In fact, she had 6 kids. But I'd like to get your opinion on birth control. Give me a call, 860-321-7405. Now, I'm a priest. What do I know about birth control? I don't know anything about it, but I have been practicing it for a long time. But I don't know anything about the pill. I haven't been taking a pill lately. I've been taking pills for other things, but I don't take birth control pills. Why don't men have to have it? That's my question. How come the women have to have it? And they have their hormones all messed up. Why don't men have it so they'll have their hormones mixed up? Well, they do other things to control their birth control. They end up having operations and vasectomies, and then that's not reversible. I remember when I was in radio and television, I used to do a show down in on Sunday mornings. This was my schedule. I'd get up at 6 o'clock, do a talk show on 104 FM, put on a long music turnstile, run over to TIC down the road at the Gold Building for an 8 o'clock show, and then it was I'd go say Mass at a couple places at 9 or 11 o'clock Mass. Then at night I'd go at WPOP at 6 o'clock, and it was called Take a Stand with the Father. And then at 8 o'clock I'd go over to 104 or 107 and hook up with SNG with Torrington and have a talk show. And then the last show would be 11 o'clock at WAVZ in New Haven. And I remember coming in, and people call you all the time. And I remember there was a DJ there, and he was married, but he had a girlfriend in the studio. And so we got friendly, and he started opening up and telling me that he had a vasectomy. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? I'm not looking about the moral acts. You know, you have no right to abuse your body unless it's a threat to your life. The principle is there. But well, how do you feel about this? And what happened by having a vasectomy, he became more and more unfaithful. He was bringing other women coming in. And I'm sure he can't have children, so it's like a permanent birth control pill. So he became very promiscuous. So there are side effects for any pill you take or any vaccination or examination or operation that you take. There's all kinds of results. Okay, my telephone number is 860-321-7405. And let's see, only have about 15 minutes. But I was hoping someone else would call, but they haven't. But I'll tell this story to you. Now, this is a true story. But you may believe it, and you may be right by believing it, or you may not believe it, and you may be right by not believing it. In the meantime, 860-321-7405. I have a friend in Bristol who is a mystic. And I told you last time when I was here, when we went to the Mystic Village down in Mystic, Connecticut, and we were talking, and she told me that Our Lady, the Mother of Jesus, is going to appear near a lighthouse at the Mystic Village. She didn't know there was a lighthouse. There was one. And there was a replica of 1810 in Boston, the first lighthouse that came to the United States. Now they have over 1,000. So she says, Mary's going to appear at 3:20 that afternoon, the 13th. It was a Sunday. So I'm saying a rosary with a couple of people, and all of a sudden, 3:20, she jumps up, goes over and starts writing and writing and writing. And after a while, she calls me over and she says, again, I didn't see Mary. I didn't hear Mary. She calls me and said, oh, Mary wants to know if you have a question. And every night, like I did today before I came to the show, I spend €3 to light a candle in Lourdes. And I always have a petition or a prayer to Mary asking her for a favor, one thing or the other. And I've been doing that for 5 years. So I'm always asking her for something. But this time, down at the Mystic Village near the lighthouse, I didn't know what to say. But I looked down and I saw the notes there. China, Russia, and North Korea are going to attack eastern United States. I didn't see Mary. I didn't hear Mary. So I asked, well, what should I do? So she asked that every family be dedicated to the Immaculate Heart of Mary and the Heart of Jesus. So I got a prayer, and I've made 4,000 copies, and I've sent them, I've given them out. I just have a few left over, and I'll probably do some more. So that ended that. Now, Mary is supposed to show up on March 13th. That was last Tuesday. I guess it was Tuesday, or anyway, or Monday or Tuesday. Anyways, so I went, this time I was supposed to be at her house. Again, I didn't see Mary, I didn't hear Mary. So at 5 o'clock, and I had a long day, I got up at 6, so I was tired. I was sitting on the couch with my eyes closed, and then all of a sudden, the lady picked up and knelt down, and she was looking, her room was kind of a little chapel. She had a beautiful picture of Jesus, and there was silence there. So I didn't know if she was in union with Mary or she was just praying. So I just closed my eyes. And after 10 or 15 minutes, she poked me, and I woke up. And I said, well, did you talk to Mary? And she said, yes, and she talked to me. And what did she say? Again, she mentioned the possibility of a Third World War. Now, we know we have a silent Cold War with Russia and China, and we have a cyber war with China and the United States. So we already are in a war with them in some degree. Like one a professor said, right now we're in a silent Cold War with Russia, China, and North Korea. And so I said to her, what did Mary say? And she said, Mary said, pray the rosary every day at 12:15. And I didn't realize that 12:15 has a tremendous biblical interpretation. That's a very important time. I realized that later on. So she said, say the rosary. And again, she talked about praying for the war, a Third World War would not come. Again, this is a private revelation. But then she said one of the missiles either came from Russia or was now in North Korea. And she put the number R14327. And she gave me that number. And I looked at it and I said, well, what is that number? That's the marking of one of the missiles. She gave me exact number. I have it on my cell phone. By the way, we have a few more minutes. If you'd like to call me at 860-321-7405. So I looked at, so again, I didn't see Mary, I didn't hear Mary. So while I was there, I punched in North Korean missiles. And what popped up? That same number that she gave me, the exact same number that she gave me. So that gave me some credibility, and she gave some credibility to me. I didn't see it, I didn't hear it. But the first apparition, she talked about dedicating each family. Now, you know, everybody's busy. B-U-S-Y, by now you know it. B-U-S-Y means be under Satan's yoke. I'm too busy to pray. I'm too busy to visit my mother. I'm too busy to go to hospital. I'm too busy to go to church. I'm too busy because I'm playing soccer on Sunday. Yeah, busy means, like somebody called me today and they wanted me to bless their, they had bracelets for their wife and daughter. And so he came up and he just called in, and I happened to be in my room. And the lady downstairs said, Father, there's a man who wants his wife's bracelet blessed. Now, I was very busy. I was very, very busy. I had a lot of things going. I'm trying to get some TV show, some shows in high schools. I'm calling high schools, and I'm doing a lot of other things too. So I was very busy, really busy. But that man became my priority. So I went down there, and we had a nice chat. And he was a retired policeman, and he told me about his spiritual life. And we're all busy, but what's your priority? I could have said to the secretary downstairs, Debbie, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I can't see him. So I had all kinds of reasons because I was really busy. But then he became my priority. So Mary says that we should pray the rosary. And she gave a time, 12:15. I did it at 12:15 today. And but what got me very upset was the number on that missal was the same number that the lady gave to me. She gave me the number, and then I looked up on the internet, and I found the man there, the missal, that was it. I want to leave this with you. When you're doing Lent, do it anyway. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some false friends and some true enemies. Succeed anyways. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. When you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have. It may not be enough. Give the world the best you've got anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and your God. It was never between you and them anyway. The one thing I say, there's only one I can't do everything, but I could do it. Good something. Yes, I can't do everything I'd love to do. And in many ways, I wish I were a woman, because women can do all things. Men can only focus on one thing at a time. So I can't do everything, but I could do something. But I'll try to do that one thing anyway. So I want to say thank you for listening. I'd like to end it with a prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Lord, I love you more today than yesterday, less today than tomorrow. Again, if you get a chance, see that movie on March 29th that said the unexpected happening. Unexpected happening. It's a movie about, to bring your daughter. It's an R movie, but the reason it's an R movie is because they have two sections of the actual abortion. But other than that, there's nothing else violent. But abortion itself is violent. So that's why they put it as our movie. They shouldn't have done that, but they did that. Again, if you have a chance, see it March 29th. And I thank you for listening. And I hope that soon I will meet again. But remember, do it anyway. No matter what people say, I'll do it anyway. Okay? And I don't know how much more time I have, and I'll wrap it up with saying thank you for listening. God loves you, and so do I. Good night.